So I just met Mark in the parking lot, but he's a really cool guy, and I already feel like he's a good fit here. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much. Very pleased to be here. I read an article about natural farming several years ago, so I started as an urban kid in Los Angeles, and I always had my heart into the land and to farming. I didn't know how to get from here to there, but I ended up just finding my way onto a ranch in Northern California, and I just wanted to make good food, you know, and try to change the world and try to create a more humane way to raise animals. So what that led to is I realized very quickly is if you can't sell it, you really can't grow it. You really can't change the world, you know, the way that I saw that I really wanted to. So, you know, I didn't understand the world of commodities and, you know, and at all. And I knew that as soon as I learned about it, I knew it didn't suit me at all. So I said, okay, I got to learn how to direct market. And my intention was to spend 10 years of my career learning how to direct market the specialty products that I wanted to farm, and then I would spend my time kind of going back to the land and kind of backward integrating, and so I'm at that point now. I secured a farm about 130 acres right outside of San Francisco, which is where, you know, my clientele base is. It's a mixed clientele, and I'll show you about you know, the types of folks that I sell to, and a little bit more about my business, and really about the opportunity that I have, and which is I saw really the power of the model. I contacted Mike DuPont, and he encouraged me, and so I set out to get some permits to farm, you know. So that was about an 8-month process of because I wanted this farm to be within the, you know, touching distance of the human beings that were eating the food. You know, that's the part of the mission, is to like connect the people with this intimate act of eating this great food, and so there, you know, the downside is it's close to San Francisco. The good place, the upside was that it was close to San Francisco. So that, you know, the downside was, you know, as soon as this, you know, the petition for this went out, it was going to 900 people, and they all had multi-million-dollar homes, and there were I had about 5 looming lawsuits even just for the idea to farm hogs, and so that was before, you know, this, but I'll just kind of walk you through it. But the good news is I have my permits now, and so that's why I'm here. And I'm here to see it firsthand. Everyone asked me the $1,000,000 question about, hey, have you ever even seen one of these programs? I said no, but it's principle based. I understand the principle, and I know it's going to work. And I'm pretty good at following directions. So I work with the USDA, so I can follow it. So, I don't know, can everyone see okay? Stand in anybody's way? Move to that side. I got a bachelor's in animal science from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I'm still kind of networked with Cal Poly. And I got really focused in holistic management at that point, using intensive grazing. And range science and so forth. I am I started a marketing arm of Pray the Ranch, which is a natural beef company, or just a ranch in Northern California. And so I was the first one to start selling meat at farmers markets in the Bay Area. I was the one-man show. I ran the slaughterhouse. And then I would run meat down on the weekends and sell it, and I'd come back. And then the business grew, and the ranch managers just sent me on my own, and so that became Pray the Ranch Meat Company. So it was a company, an arm of the ranch that still carried the name of the ranch, but it was a separate company. So I did that for a while, did the farmers markets for about 4 years, and then my wife turned to me and said, I think we should probably start thinking about having a family, and you working 70 hours a week isn't really cutting it. So let's work. And so, but we also weren't selling all the beef. So I said, you know, we had about 23 head a week capacity to be able to sell from this ranch, which was about 45,000 acres. And so I said, well, I better start wholesaling. So I built up a wholesale business. And then the next thing led to the next thing was, you know, okay, we have all these extra parts and pieces. How are we going to market that product? And so I taught myself how to do what I call American charcuterie, which is just making good, clean food without any kind of synthetics and just using just natural ingredients and try to make them relevant to the customer, like making skinless hot dogs that you would find like Oscar Mayer, but you know, make a really good one. So I'm just a self-taught person on the butcher and the making charcuterie. And my time is spent split between about 3.5 hours north of the San Francisco Bay Area, where I do all the smoking and curing, and then I come back down to Oakland. We have a launch pad, and I do. We have a USDA inspected cutting room there, and a warehouse, and a meat distribution system there. So my background is, you know, I've dabbled in making pastured poultry. I followed the kind of more of the Salatin style pastured poultry, but it was very seasonal, of course, because it related. You know, I was irrigating and, you know, kind of germinating the sprouts, and very intensive model. And then I've done the deep straw bedded kind of pasture raised pork, which also again didn't answer the 52-week question, which is, you know, during the middle of winter, you know, was I still able to work with these really high-end chefs and deliver on time and grow? And so that was kind of the conundrum, and that's what really brought me here to natural farming. Because I look at that and I say, boy, this is a model that can work 52 weeks a year with good husbandry and good stewardship. So I'm a newbie. I'm a complete, you know, I've just read the Cho books. You know, I've read everything I can, but this is my first hand kind of really jumping down and grabbing a handful of the deep litter, you know, with my own hands and smelling it and seeing the inputs and so forth. I've been working with a hog farmer, and they're the first Project Non-GMO verified pork company, and that allowed me to become the first non-GMO verified meat processor in the country. So I'm not sure how to get rid of that. So charcuterie, you know, I call it the art and craft of and science of salting, smoking, and curing meats. And I deal with all different species. I make bacon and skinless hot dogs. I make chicken products. And I just kind of draw the line. I mean, all the meats that I don't use a lot of certified organic meats anymore. They're kind of, because the farmers just don't want to pay for the certification, and we have enough relationship with the customer base that it really just doesn't pay. So they trust me to be able to go out and do the buying and sourcing. They know that it's never going to have ever had anybody kind of antibiotic, and that they're going to be humanely raised. And usually I pick up, I correspond with the farmer, and then I contract everything from the slaughterhouse, and then we'll bring it in-house, and I'll do all the processing from that point forward. Here's where the ranches are. We've got, that I deal with, I've got one in Iowa. They do exclusively Berkshire genetic pork. And the rest of them, I've got, so Pure Country Pork is where I have some of my sows that I have an agreement with the farmer. Because I found him, I said, boy, he's doing the best job that I've ever seen doing deep straw bedded. I want to learn from you. And he said, how about you make me bacon and I'll grow you pigs? We all have so many hours in the day, so that's what we did. So I hauled my sow herd up there, and he's growing my hogs for me. Then we have a bunch of grass-fed lamb coming out of the Anderson Ranch. We have our Pray the Ranch beef. It's kind of like our signature product coming out of Meckel, California, which is just south of Klamath Falls, Oregon. And then we have the Lost Coast Humboldt, California beef. This is a top-of-the-line premium grass-fed, grass-finished product, grades choice and up. This is a friend that I've been working with and I've been watching for quite some years, but he's got the tiger by the tail in terms of really knowing how to finish cattle on grass. And he would be real shy to say he could do it 52 weeks a year, but he says, 45, but he does it better than anybody else I know. That area called Ferndale is really deep alluvial soils, perennial ryegrass and white clover, and just very digestible. And it's like America's Ireland. It's just made to grow grass. So it's a very special place. And then we have this Range Brothers Cape Hay Valley. That's where my hogs, that's the hog program that I put together. And then we have a small chicken program. Probably the most expensive chickens in the world. We sell the most expensive chicken in the world, I think. We pay the farmers pretty much what they need, to get for it. And this guy's putting up a really excellent product, but we make almost no money, and we don't really sell that many of them because they're so expensive. And that's something I'm really interested in developing. I think there's a much bigger opportunity with chicken than currently than we're able to offer, and I'd like to be able to grow a broiler program on this farm that I've secured. So it might be hard to read here, but this is just kind of a breakdown of the various products that we sell. Like in this last year, about 6% of that was lamb. It's about 43,000 pounds of lamb, and beef, there was about, I think it says 51, so we did about 387,000 pounds of beef, and pork, we did about 320,000 pounds of pork, and we only did 1% chicken, about 12,000 pounds of chicken. And one of the things that I've discovered in this process, and really watching a lot of different programs coming up, is that the cooperative model isn't really the one that lasts. I'm really into quality, and my customers are really into quality. So what I do is I usually get behind a producer who has ability to scale, and then I do my best to support them. And I just focus on working with them through, I always call it like the marriage. You get married and you just say through thick or thin, we're going to make it through this, and we're going to grow a program together. So that's, I like to also be able to say this is where the animals come from, and if that farmer wants to expand, then I can help them expand because they have my attention, and they've, and I'm focused on growing, and the byproduct is that they grow too. And so we've got our warehouse in Oakland, California. We have our USDA inspected meat processing facility. All of these steps, were hard fought, just, the infrastructure needed, because I started as a one-man show, just doing all this stuff. And really to be able to change the food system, which is really my mission, there's no one there to really teach you how to do it, so you just have to kind of wing it and kind of take your best guess. But, teaching ourselves how to do that, teaching ourselves how to do it under USDA inspection. So we have a warehouse in Oakland that's right across the way from the airport. It's kind of our launch pad. It's a really bad neighborhood, but it's okay. We've got a shop in the Ferry Building in San Francisco. That's the top picture. And then this middle one. This is our Valentine's offering here, but we're doing home delivery through a third party called Good Eggs, and they take like farmers market quality products, and they deliver it directly to people's home. It's like a brand new concept that's hitting. Basically, they're launching in a lot of the metropolitan areas, LA, San Francisco, and New York, and I think New Orleans. They're launching this. It's a really neat concept. Taking that, so because there's a lot of the farmers markets, a lot of the farmers market people are really wearing out. They're having a hard time doing all the farming and then doing all the marketing too, and it's just a lot of work. And So this is all evolving right now. And then we have our farmers market booth. We do 8 farmers markets a week, and we have a little fast casual concept that we launched. It's a restaurant, little restaurant, like a burger joint. We call it fast, slow food fast. So anyway, we have a hot dog part too. So we just explore all these different, ways to market our products, and we're just following our nose. And really, if I could give you any of things that I've gleaned is, if you can kind of sell animals in whole units, that's probably your best thing you could do for yourself, and keep your marketing costs at a minimum. We have quite a few employees, 41 employees, and it just takes a whole bunch of people to really make the farming thing reliable. I had realized, I always knew it, but I've always been really focused on the mission, about making great food and doing all this great stuff and trying to create a different environment for animals to be grown in that's respectful and decent. The financial sustainability leg was the one that I didn't ever put enough energy around. It was more about just like building all these things up, and that's a really important one, to be able to make this thing all happen and to make a thriving business. So these are just kind of some really open and honest challenges, things that and this is very recent. I've been going back into the company and really reevaluating where we are because we grow so fast, and it's very hard to grow fast. So our challenges are matching supply with demand. We either have too much or we have too little, always. Lack of control for production and manufacturing. So I told you I was spread out all over the state. I'd like to be able to. The next step is to be able to get my own processing facility that's everything that's put together in one location that's set for distribution. So that speaks to that disjointed operations. So right now we're in the stabilization phase, which is streamlining our processes and really focusing on the business. Getting the right people in the right places, and just sound management practices. The consolidation is going to be bringing everything together so we have efficiency with distribution. Because when we look at it, I do benchmark studies, and I start looking at a lot of the natural foods. They're becoming much more competitive with their pricing. And if I want to stay relevant, I know that I can always produce better food. I can always bring the best food to the market, but can I stay relevant from a price perspective? So I'm looking, right now it's not really a problem, but I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the vertical integration and bringing the farming, some of the farming aspects into it as well. And so then we have that's part of the integration, bringing everything together within like a mile or two of where the farm is. And that's my contact information. I really wanted to come out here to build a network of people that I could talk to about natural farming. I'm going to kind of take it one step at a time. I'm going to build a small piggery, and I'm going to build a small broiler outfit, and then I'll do a layer operation. I'm really interested in the science part of it. I want to set up a lab. I want to learn why it works and how it works, and I've got just got a lot of interest. But that's the farm, Green Valley, California. Right over those trees is where a whole bunch of those multi-million-dollar homes are, and I've got this breeze that goes right from the farm right toward those homes, and you can set your watch at 1:30 every day. That wind kicks up and it goes right that direction. So I got a lot of people, really, I'm kind of on a high wire. I need to be successful, coming out of the gate. I'm going to be very, I'm just going to follow the letter of the law. Mike DuPont, it just says, stay with the model. Just stay with the model. Execute, well and clean. And so anyway, I'm available to you. If you ever, questions about marketing meat is very principle based. So I could probably give you 2 or 3 things that I think might help. And then I'd love to. I'm just an infant. I'm going to be. I'll probably be back here in about a year asking a bunch of other questions. But anyway, I just appreciate your time, and I'd love to. If you feel like maybe you possess some ideas or some keys that would really help me get going. For instance, like the infrastructure to set up, like with building a lab and so forth. I'd love to scratch down your name and your email address and build a network. So thanks for your time. I don't know if I took up too much time, but thanks a lot.